On Okinawa, exhaustion is crippling both sides. Less than a third of the Japanese army is left, and they form a last line of defense by the sea. This is where General Ushijima makes his last stand.
The present position will be defended to the death, even to the last man. Needless to say, retreat is forbidden.
The Japanese are running out of soldiers, ammunition, and land. They have their backs to the sea. Americans try to persuade civilians to surrender rather than die. In one case, they lure 600 Okinawans out of a single cave. They are less forgiving to the enemy. Some refuse to take any Japanese prisoners at all, killing them on sight, white flag or not. Americans can see the coast, and they are burning their way to the sea. Japanese leaders are huddled in seaside caves. It is so cramped that General Ushijima cannot stretch out his legs. He receives a message from General Buckner, an offer to enter negotiations for surrender.
You understand as clearly as I that the destruction of all Japanese resistance on the island is merely a matter of days.
Ushijima laughs it off and does not reply.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Close Combat Okinawa. So this is what the situation looks like now. So I'll kind of give you an update about what's happening, and then I'll kind of try and fill you in about what has happened since I last did a video update. And yeah, we'll just try and keep everybody up to date. So we're up to day 15, so we've still got quite a long time to go. It's the wet season, so this will slow everything down. In real life, it got really wet towards the end, and there was heavy rains, and it kind of turned into a World War I battlefield. So in the game, it should just slow tanks down a bit, make it harder for men to travel through dirt and all that. So just for reference, this is the Shuri Castle, which was taken, but it's a major supply depot for the Japanese, so they actually kind of seem to respawn here, which is kind of weird. I would have thought it'd be more realistic if they spawned more kind of down here or something. So I don't know, maybe that can be fixed later on in future installments of this mod, which I'd love to see go on Last Stand Arnhem. But for reference, this is the capital city of Naha. I'll talk about how that went in a while, but the front line is kind of now around here, Hill 168, the major crossroad of Iwa. And the Americans have gone through Iwa a few times and allowed me to retake it. So this has actually been quite a heavily fought over area. I'll quickly cover it in a minute. But from Iwa, they've gone down to this township here. How would you say that? Gashika-chan or something like that. And it was a cakewalk for the Americans. They went into here and basically just destroyed me. I tried to do a counterattack around here, but it failed. Though it probably went better than the initial defense. I think the initial defense was with Japanese tank units, which are extremely weak. They've just got really crappy tanks and some scout teams as a support. So it's completely inappropriate. It'd be great if this was on Last Stand Arnhem, because then I'd just merge the tank units with more well-rounded units. But this was just a complete walkover. And once they'd taken most of Iwa and this township here, it created a pocket that was cut off. And that's what's happening now. He's now moving in on this pocket. I'll talk about the battle in a minute. Hill 6-9. This has been okay. I've done a little bit of a defense, though the Americans got over the hill and took a lot quite early on. But I've been holding out here quite nicely, to be honest, because there's a lot of shell holes here, and they're doing surprisingly well. Some of the American teams are getting low on tanks, which is quite helpful, but he'll probably take this pretty quickly, probably next turn. Ewa's been interesting. As I said before, the Americans have taken the map and then passed on for me to then move back in or have to try and do a meeting engagement. I've been doing pretty well around here lately. I've my last battle, I had a lot of mortar teams. Like I'm talking about like 5 mortar teams, and heavy machine gun and heavy troops. And if they just stay hiding in the shell holes and in the forest with the trenches and stuff, they tend to do pretty all right despite the enemy tanks firing at me. This area will come under attack eventually. This battle here, I've actually been doing surprisingly well. I think we're up to our second battle, and both times the Americans have tried to break out, but they haven't got too much further than this bridge and this exit victory location. I've kept some troops hiding out in trenches and shell holes around here, and I've fought vigilantly around for this town, trying to hold them off, so that's good. As I said before, I've noticed some units have respawned in Shuri Castle, so this has been a very slow grind, but I've actually been doing really well. The enemy doesn't seem to have any tanks, so they're in a bit of a tough spot themselves, having to fight me with just infantry. But I've been using very slow tactics, using mortar, skilled rifle teams, and machine gun teams in certain areas, and I've just been slowly clawing away, getting little bits of the map turn by turn. We've had quite a few battles here, so at this rate I think I actually will eventually take all of the castle unless something changes, because every turn I'm just taking a little bit more each time. At one desperate point, I made a counterattack at Maple Hill, because I sort of figured, well, imagine if I could create a corridor going from through here to Shuri Castle, and they could all link up. But that was a complete failure. They had a whole American tank team on top of the hill, and I tried attacking, and I started. I think I started here, and I just got annihilated. They destroyed me, and I didn't even take. They didn't even take a single casualty. In fact, I might be able to get a picture up of the after action report. Here we go. Look at that. Okay, so they lost 1 infantry, and another one as incapacitated. So 2 casualties in total. And look at all that. Look how many guns and men I lost. It was the whole team completely destroyed. Might as well just show you the sniper I had. He got 12 kills. I don't even know if he's still alive. Look how many kills the enemies are getting. Look at that machine gunner. Elite assault team. They do pretty good at clearing out fortifications. These Bushmaster vehicles are very easy for me to take out. I've noticed he's had this chemical mortar. It's a very large mortar. So to try and pick up from where I left off, Hill 178 was taken eventually. Naha, this was pretty much another cakewalk for the Americans. There were some areas where I kind of put up a resistance, I think especially around here. I got a few kills of the enemy, but it was generally a cakewalk for the Americans, pretty easy. They're able to get their tanks down the road. I may have taken one out, but it was generally a failure. Same with this area, very big disappointment. It wasn't easy for me to defend. I didn't perform very well. Hill 5-7. This was the same. I didn't do too great. I think I did okay in some areas, but generally speaking, the Americans just walked over me. It has a sort of similar problem with Sugarloaf Hill, as in the map is so small that when the Americans, let's say, attack, they already own half the mountain. You know, if they would just give me some land outside of the map, it would mean the Americans have a little bit more terrain to go over and not start the battle on top of the mountain. It kind of ruins the idea of taking this big hill if they start the battle with half the hill captured. Love Hill, I think I did okay at some points, but I don't remember putting up a remarkable defense. The same with Skyline Ridge. So what I'm guessing he's going to try and do, he's probably going to try and make a beeline. He'll probably want to take this, but he'll probably want to make a beeline for Hill 95 and finally Hill 89. So yeah, I'm going to try and hold these areas and start strategically withdrawing. I've allowed too many of my battle groups to be destroyed, but these defense lines are sort of like my last defense, and then after that it'll all just be kind of towns and stuff. Though I might be able to do a little bit of defense around here, but yeah, it looks like the Battle of Okinawa is now coming to an end. Anyway, that's it. So I'll give you a little bit of an update once we start closing in on the final maps. I'm going to try and upload a few battles. If you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear them. And thank you for watching.